The spread of hatred and lies online is causing grave harm to our world.
The U.S. House is expected to vote today to release the Jeffrey Epstein files.
And we know this measure has become a lightning rod of controversy on Capitol Hill, with one revelation after another involving the late financier. Douglas Zader joining us.
In the event of a global catastrophe, there would be an extraterrestrial intervention.
Come, sign your soul away.
We can't let the people know! We can't let the people know!
We are out of time. They don't even know it's coming. We are out of time. They don't even know it's coming.
Welcome to the sacrificed.
Dear brothers, America first or Israel first? You're live with 1,000 people on TikTok. You're scared, sir? You look like an American. You look like you let it rip behind the scenes. Come on, sir. You look like you have the power. Don't give us that bashful white man face. America first or Israel first, sir? You're scared to answer it, sir? Your face turning red, sir? Your neck vein is bulging out? He liked that one. This guy's too serious. No, now he looked at you very evilly, sir. Watch it. Oh, yeah, you do? Well, this guy just looked at you evil, so you might not have one very long, little worker boy. All that giggling's about to get you fired, giggly boy. Hey, giggly boy, be like the other ones. Straight face, sir. Nobody wants a giggly boy. Like that, exactly. Now, he's laughing at the giggly boy. I'm just joking, guys. This is just some good old-fashioned American humor. He just pushed me. Sir, you're dainty. You push, so you did admit to pushing me. This will go to the Capitol Police. I'm going to say the man with the dainty hands pushed me. So you did push me, though.
You blocked the way.
Sir.
And I'm for Palestine.
Okay.
So shut up and walk away.
So what does for Palestine mean?
For them to have autonomy and peace and quiet.
From the river to the sea?
No.
No? Whoa,
no.
I don't think you're for Palestine, buddy.
Oh, no, I am.
No, you're not.
But Israel deserves to exist as well.
So you're not for Palestine? Don't gaslight me, sir.
We're different in opinion.
You're gaslighting me and you hit me.
Oh,
that's a double assault. You gaslighted me and you hit me, dainty hand man. You have dainty hands, sir. You have dainty hands. You're a coward, sir.
Hello, I'm Ted Pike, and this is my wife, Alin. Today, a foreign government, Israel, operates the most powerful lobby in Congress. This is AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. Through control of Congress, Israel demands and gets nearly $5 billion annually. No elected official dares criticize Israel for fear the Jewish lobby will accuse him of anti-Semitism, the kiss of death for any politician. The president also knows what Israel wants, Israel gets. To act otherwise is political suicide. The mass media, founded and controlled primarily by Jews, manipulates the spigot of information out of which Heartland America drinks. The message of this contaminated source is, if you criticize Israel, you are anti-Semitic. Be safe, keep your head down, or you are fair game for being knocked off by the Zionist shooting gallery.
As a result, our president and elected officials are slaves to political correctness when it comes to Jews and Israel. They cannot seriously criticize Israel, especially as the source of Mideast strife and terrorism. They cannot suggest an end of aid to Israel. They cannot even protest Zionist control of Congress.
They cannot suggest an end of aid to Israel. They cannot even protest Zionist control of Congress.
You questioned who and what country is putting so much pressure on Trump to keep the Epstein files hidden. And you included a picture about donations from pro-Israel lobbying group AIPAC. What are you trying to say there?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's the question that many Americans are asking, especially when we saw information recently come out in these emails that the Oversight Committee that I serve on has released. And we saw Jeffrey Epstein with ties to Ehud Barak. We saw him making business deals with them, also business deals that involved the Israeli government and seems to have led into their intel agencies. And I think the right question is to ask is, was Jeffrey Epstein working for Israel? And I'm proud to say I don't take money from AIPAC. I don't take money from any special group of people. I'm just representing my district and the American people. And so that's what I was referring to.
I just want to be clear. Are you saying Israel is pushing the President of the United States to cover up the Epstein files? And what evidence do you have that that is the case?
I simply just asked out loud, is there a foreign government? It could be any foreign government, but is a foreign government pushing to keep this covered up? Because people just don't understand the big fight against.
Well, you had AIPAC up there. It was pretty clear which government you were talking about.
That I'm questioning that government in particular and questioning any other foreign government.
אבל אנחנו הולכים למסלול התנגשות עם הממשל האמריקאי. ארצות הברית זה לא מקשה אחת, זה לא מקשה אחת. יש את הסנאט, יש את הקונגרס, יש את הכוח היהודי שהוא עצום, יותר חזק משהיה אי פעם. יש דעת קהל, יש לנו כוחות כבירים בדעת הקהל שמתנגדים למדיניות הזאת, גדולי הפרשנים. אמריקה לא תכפה עלינו דבר, אם לא...
The spread of hatred and lies online is causing grave harm to our world. Misinformation, disinformation, and hate speech are fueling prejudice and violence, exacerbating divisions and conflicts, demonizing minorities, and compromising the integrity of elections. Threats to information integrity are not new, but they are proliferating and expanding with unprecedented speed on digital platforms and supercharged by AI technologies. Science, facts, human rights, public health, climate action are under attack. And when information integrity is targeted, so is democracy, which depends on a shared, fact-based perception of reality. False narratives, distortions, and lies breed cynicism, disbelief, and disengagement. They undermine social cohesion, putting the Sustainable Development Goals further out of reach. Opaque algorithms push people into information bubbles and reinforce prejudices, including racism, misogyny, and discrimination of all kinds. Women, refugees, migrants, and minorities are common targets. Lives are at stake when lies are spread about vaccines and other medical issues. The United Nations' own operations and missions are compromised as our staff deal with a tsunami of falsehoods and absurd conspiracy theories. We demand action. First, to the big tech companies, take responsibility. Acknowledge the damage your products are inflicting on people and communities and you have the power to mitigate harm to people and societies around the world. You have the power to change business models that profit from disinformation and hate. The climate crisis is a cause of particular concern. Coordinated disinformation campaigns are seeking to undermine climate action.
I'm going to show you something that should make you even more alarmed, that our own army is short of even ammunition being bled dry by the Albanese government. It's also something that should make you even more worried that this government is also making electricity supplies so shaky and expensive that there is no way that we will get ahead in artificial intelligence, which needs so much electricity that companies like Microsoft, which are getting into it, plan to have their own nuclear reactors. Now, you might have thought it cute when China revealed it had dancing robots. I mean, so advanced. But did you really think that China was developing robots just to dance? This year, a Chinese company unveiled a robot that can also do kung fu, that potentially can fight. And last week, China's People's Liberation Army released a video of army exercises. And look at the stars, robot wolves, armed and fighting alongside human soldiers. Now, China first unveiled an early version of this new weapon a couple of years ago, but this latest model looks more rugged and advanced. It is still steered by pilots, but wait until these robot wolves get artificial intelligence so that they can fight independently, identifying and targeting their own targets using their independent judgment. And if you think talk of Chinese attacks, well, it's all alarmist, you know, warmonger, check out the warning posted by China's foreign ministry just last week after Japan's prime minister suggested Japan would defend Taiwan from a Chinese invasion. I'll translate it for you. It was actually in Japanese, warning Japan any attempt to provoke the bottom line of the Chinese people will inevitably be met with a severe counterattack from China. Their heads will be split open and they will be covered in blood.
Their heads will be split open and they will be covered in blood.
Tonight, only on 11 Alive, family and friends of a Metro Atlanta man killed by an off-duty Atlanta police officer in Buckhead are demanding justice. 44-year-old Linton Blackwell was shot in a parking lot behind a bar on October 11th. Tonight, an autopsy report reveals Blackwell was shot 17 times and nearly every single bullet hit him in the back. 11 Alive's Cody Alcorn has been following the story since the night it happened, and just hours ago, he filed this report after speaking with Blackwell's manager, who says he just wants justice for his best friend.
My name is Timothy Coleman, and I'm Linton Blackwell's manager.
Born and raised in Metro Atlanta.
Preferably from some projects called East Lake Meadows, a.k.a. Little Vietnam, which we real proudly, we got it on the shirt right here.
44-year-old Linton Blackwell, better known in the local music scene as B. Green, but more importantly, a father, brother, and son.
Big old family from the East Lake Meadows. I mean, a loving family, man, and I just hurt for him, man. You know, he just leaves a lot behind.
Blackwell was shot and killed by Atlanta police officer Gerald Walker, who was off duty working a side job in Buckhead at 5 Paces Inn.
I just fell to my knees because I couldn't believe it. And I couldn't believe that it was 17 times in the back. Like all the shots. It's not one shot in the front. It's all 17 in the back.
Everyone agrees an altercation happened at the bar.
Linton, I guess, was escorted out of the premises and whatnot.
The GBI says Officer Walker approached Blackwell outside, followed him around the corner.
The officer ensued, chased him down, and gunned him down. That's what we know.
The GBI says Blackwell got into a vehicle and put something in the back of his waistband.
If he wasn't pointing a gun at you or doing anything, what does that have to do with you shooting him in the back 17 times? That means he wasn't facing you. He wasn't a threat. okay?
The officer gave commands regarding a gun before the officer opened fire.
I want him locked up. Gerald Walker needs to be behind bars.
The GBI is still investigating. Once they finish, the case will be handed over to the DA to decide whether a grand jury will consider charges. Atlanta police also conducting their own internal investigation.
Independent journalist Michael Schellenberger has been digging into the digital ID issue. He just released a lengthy piece on this on his Substack called Public. He joins us now with his thoughts. Michael, look, the argument is it's like it'll help thwart illegal immigration, ID fraud, streamline healthcare services. Sounds fantastic. What the heck's the problem?
Right. Hey, great to be with you, Laura. Yeah, I mean, another conspiracy theory that has started coming true. I mean, we saw this announcement in September. It took everybody by surprise. The World Economic Forum had been pushing digital IDs, the United Nations, the European Union, Britain. Of course, the really terrifying example is China, which uses digital IDs and a social credit score to control speech and to control what people think and say online. I mean, it could come in a lot of different ways. They'll start voluntary, then they'll make it mandatory. They'll have rewards, and then they'll have punishments. It's quite terrifying. And when you just listen to what the advocates for digital IDs say, it's terrifying. And, you know, Laura, one thing I learned from this last round of investigations is that this is a huge cybersecurity threat. The idea that, I mean, imagine if you get hacked in one of the many websites that you log into. Imagine everything suddenly being hacked because it's all centralized in a single place. That cybersecurity threat alone ought to be enough to kill the digital ID. But again, this is potentially digital totalitarianism.
Next time you need to present your passport at the airport, you can just pull out your iPhone. Apple is rolling out its new digital ID feature. It allows users to add their passport information to their Apple Wallet. TSA checkpoints at more than 250 airports nationwide will accept it as a form of ID for domestic travel. It will also be accessible on Apple Watch devices. The digital ID will not be accepted for international travel.
Well, iPhone users, you have a new way to show your ID at all US, or most US airports, that is. A digital ID in Apple Wallet is now being tested at TSA checkpoints at more than 250 airports in the US. Now, Apple says you can create the ID using your valid US passport. It works even if you don't have a real ID compliant driver's license or state ID. Digital ID does not replace a physical passport, however, and it cannot be used for international travel and border crossings. I'll be right back.
Certainly. So this is something that Apple fans have been asking for quite some time, and that is to have true digital ID stored on the Apple iPhone within the wallet, also having it work, on the Apple Watch. And Apple's finally doing it. Now, it's something that Google has done as well in the Google Wallet. So Samsung users, Android users have been able to have some of this functionality for quite some time. Apple had been lagging in this, but they have finally added it, and it is working with a handful of states. I'm sorry to say Illinois is not one of them. Neither is Florida, from where I'm speaking to you from. But one of the things you can do with it, which is good for everyone, is your U.S. passport. It is workable with the Apple Digital ID. So you go into the Apple Wallet, you add as if you were adding a card, and it gives you an option to add an ID card and select the one you want to add. If you want to add your U.S. passport, if you want to add one of the IDs, driver licenses or non-driver IDs from one of the states that is listed, you go ahead and do it. I added my passport just last night to my brand new, by the way, Apple iPhone 17 Pro Max.
Police say at least 25 female students are missing after gunmen stormed a boarding school in Nigeria. Officials say the vice principal is dead after the ambush and abduction. Now authorities are trying to find the girls and figure out who's responsible. ABC's foreign correspondent Marcus Moore has the details on that. Hi, Marcus.
Hi, Diane. There is an urgent search and rescue operation underway in Nigeria as I speak to you now. Local police, along with members of the country's military, are looking for the 25 girls who were abducted from their dorm rooms in Kebbi State. That's in the northwestern part of Nigeria. According to police, armed bandits stormed the government-funded secondary school at around 4 o'clock in the morning. The assistant principal was shot and killed. Another staffer, we understand, suffered injuries. Authorities say the bandits scaled the fencing around that school and that the abduction was well underway by the time emergency responders arrived there. According to initial reports, the bandits fired sporadically inside the school before the gunmen escaped with the children to an unknown destination. And at this point, no group has claimed responsibility for this. Now, this most recent kidnapping follows a string of mass abductions in parts of Nigeria. You may recall the infamous kidnapping of 276 schoolgirls from their school back in 2014. The militant group Boko Haram carried out that abduction, and more than a decade later, 82 of those girls are still missing. In fact, according to the United Nations, at least 1,400 children have been abducted from their schools since that incident. And experts say some of them have been taken for ransom, forced marriages, or human trafficking, as well as for prisoner exchanges. And so this is an ongoing issue that officials in Nigeria are under increasing pressure to address. Of course, Diane, right now, there's grave concern for those 25 girls who were abducted on Monday.
All right, Marcus Moore, thank you.
Survey. It says the UK, well, it says brace, but many people would say celebrate, what could prove to be the largest solar storm in over 2 decades. We're talking about Northern Lights here. It's upgraded its geomagnetic forecast for its highest intensity level amid this ongoing solar storm.
Hey guys, this morning, earlier, we had an interesting thing happen up in space. The sun released a solar flare, but this was a big one, and the sun has been active over the last week. It's been putting out quite a few of these, but what we're hearing from the Space Weather Prediction Center, is that now we have a G4 storm watch, which on a scale of 1 to 5, G4 is high. We don't see these too often. So what does that mean for us? Well, a couple of things here on Earth. These are notoriously hard to predict, but this energy does come towards Earth.
Lights, you probably noticed that. Of course, we were talking about in our news. You can see some of those great pictures there on the right side of your screen, and you'll have another chance to see them tonight. I'm excited about it. KMBC9's Darissa White spoke with an expert about the best times for viewing.
Well, many people across the metro reported seeing the northern lights, similar to these here at Union Station's planetarium, and you might be able to see them again today. The Northern Lights made a special appearance over the metro last night. KMBC viewers from both sides of the state line shared photos of beautiful waves and streaks of green, pink, and purple light. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the storm stems from a powerful coronal mass ejection, as Patrick Hess from Union Station's planetarium calls it, bursts of energy from the sun that expanded the Earth's auroral oval further south than usual.
All that energy from the sun hits the Earth's magnetosphere. The Earth is kind of like a big magnet, and that protects us because otherwise it would be a less fun time with the Northern Lights if we didn't have that protection. But basically what happens is our magnetic field gets really excited by all that energy, and it glows in these really cool colors. And if we're really lucky, it can happen this far south, but usually it's a lot farther north where the atmosphere and the magnetosphere is thinner.
Now, Patrick says we might see them again before the sun sets. It might be hard, but never impossible.
This is a picture that we just had sent in to us via the QR code that you see on your screen. Thanks a lot, Tina Peterson. That's Urbandale, Iowa. Goodness, that is something else, isn't it? Wow. You got the pinks, you've got the reds, you got the purples, you got some greens in there too. Here's another one, Anaconda, Montana. I like it. Cameron Bright. Oh yeah, Cameron Bright is the name. That was from Montana. My bad on that. Trenton, Texas. How about that? Yeah, so you can see on some of these pictures, there's like a slight edit here or there. You know, a lot of people will try some.
Where the U.S. House is expected to vote today to release the Jeffrey Epstein files.
And we know this measure has become a lightning rod of controversy on Capitol Hill, with one revelation after another involving the late financier. Douglas Zader joining us live from Washington. Good morning, Doug. What are you learning about the impact of these possible files being released today? Excuse me,
well,
the vote today.
There are a lot of moving parts in this. I mean, there does seem to be a bipartisan majority to get this done. in the House. You know, from there it's got to kick over to the Senate, which hasn't even scheduled anything yet, although the president seems to have acknowledged that the Senate should take this up and that he would sign it into law if, in fact, it passed, which means we could see a big release. But, you know, as far as the impact goes, we don't know what's in these documents. The Justice Department has a lot of documents on Epstein. A lot of them have been released, but a lot of them have not. So are there going to be other individuals implicated? You know, to what degree is the president mentioned in these documents, and what's the context of all of that? So there are just so many unknowns here, but this is something that a lot of folks have been clamoring for a long time.
Well, exactly, and we don't know what might be redacted and what won't. Do we have a sense, Doug, as to if the Senate will pick this up? When?
Yeah, nothing scheduled in the Senate. We don't know if the Senate's going to take this up or not, but the president seems to be kind of signing off on Republican leaders in the Senate doing just that. So seems likely, but nothing's on the schedule.
Right.
Doug, you mentioned bipartisan support. Do you get the sense there in Washington that a lot of lawmakers just want to do this and then move on? Or are a lot of them kind of on the same page with this?
Yeah, we expect this vote in the House to have a lot of bipartisan support, so this is expected to pass the House today.
Some of the people that we mentioned are being looked at very seriously for their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, but they were with him all the time. I wasn't at all. And we'll see what happens. What I just don't want Epstein to do is detract from the great success of the Republican Party, including the fact that the Democrats are totally blamed for the shutdown. You know, they cost our country hundreds of billions of dollars with that, at a lot of inconvenience. So I'm for any, I don't, they can do whatever they want. We'll give them everything. Sure I would. Let the Senate look at it, let anybody look at it. But don't talk about it too much, because honestly, I don't want to take it away from us. It's really a Democrat problem. The Democrats were Epstein's friends, all of them. And it's a hoax. The whole thing is a hoax. And I don't want to take it away from really the greatness of what the Republican Party has accomplished over the last period.
What I do want to talk about is I've been recently told the reason they're going to be releasing these things, and the reason for the flip, is that they're sanitizing these files. There's a facility in Winchester, Virginia, where they're scrubbing the files to take Republican names out of it. That's what I was told by a pretty good source.
Where they're scrubbing the files to take Republican names out of it. That's what I was told by a pretty good source.
I woke up this morning and I turned to my weather app to check the temperature, and it was 32 degrees. And my first thought was, hell has froze over. I want to speak goodness and love and hope into the women standing behind me and all of the other survivors whose names you don't even know, but stand with these women. They are survivors, and they are strong, and they are courageous, and they are daughters of God. They are not victims. These women have fought the most horrific fight that no woman should have to fight, and they did it by banding together and never giving up. And that's what we did by fighting so hard against the most powerful people in the world, even the President of the United States, in order to make this vote happen today. I was called a traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years for. And I gave him my loyalty for free. I won my first election without his endorsement, beating 8 men in a primary. And I've never owed him anything, but I fought for him for the policies and for America first. And he called me a traitor.
See what happened. Her life could be in danger because of the rhetoric?
Her life is in danger? Who's that? Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't think her life is in danger. Frankly, I don't think anybody cares about her.
And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves. A patriot is an American that serves the United States of America and Americans like the women standing behind me. And I want to tell you that this only became possible today because the American people, whom we serve as representatives here in Congress, demanded that this vote happen, and they put more pressure on every single elected politician in this city than has ever been put on them. And today you are going to see probably a unanimous vote in the House to release the Epstein files, but the real fight will happen after that. While I want to see every single name released so that these women don't have to live in fear and intimidation, which is something I've had a small taste of in just the past few days, just a small taste.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, good evening. Tonight, a Baxter County couple is facing 270 combined charges for child abuse. Their alleged actions described as torture that lasted more than a decade.
The case has lawmakers asking why the Division of Children and Family Services failed to act after receiving dozens of child abuse hotline reports for over 10 years. Channel 7's Andrew Mobley has the story for us tonight. Andrew.
Jacqueline Barnett and Daniel Wright were first arrested last November for false imprisonment, permitting child abuse and other charges after police found their 15-year-old son held captive and naked in their apartment. Neighbors heard the boy's cries for help and called police. According to an affidavit, he was low-functioning and underdeveloped. The boy said he was locked naked in the bathroom every night and only let out to go to school, which was the only place he received food. An investigation revealed that since 2013, the family had been the subject of 29 child abuse hotline reports. But those reports appear to have been deemed unsubstantiated because no action was taken by caseworkers.
DHS did not do what we believe they should have done to identify a repeated call made about the same household. And because of this abuse went on for a substantial period of time.
At an October committee meeting, outraged Arkansas lawmakers demanded the Department of Human Services, which oversees the Division of Children and Family Services, explain its failure to address the abuse.
A lot of us were awakened to some very disturbing things in that October meeting when we discovered that DCFS had known about this case and had not taken serious action.
After their arrest last year, Barnett and Wright lost custody of the boy, who is not their biological son, but not other minors in the household.
The fact that they were able to bond out initially and still maintain primary custody of other minor children, it's wrong on every level.
Last week, they were arrested again, this time for the alleged rape and sexual assault of one of those other children. We asked DHS why reports about the family weren't acted on and what the department is doing to ensure it never happens again. They provided Channel 7 this statement: "We have acknowledged failures on the part of DCFS staff in prior years related to this family. Many of these employees no longer work for the agency, and this case has spurred action throughout the division, including implementing new standards to help ensure a failure like this does not happen again, and completing an additional review of our child maltreatment data that will add to our ability to prevent child maltreatment." Representative Rose told Channel 7 that a child advocacy center in his district confirmed to him that DCFS has implemented new protocols for responding to abuse reports.
One of those is requiring, when a complaint comes in, that at DCFS, they have to check a button that says that they did a search to make sure that there are not any outstanding cases.
But he and Flippo say that more change is needed.
And some of it is absolutely going to necessitate legislation.
And this time, Barnett and Wright have been placed on $1 million bond, and they are still in the Baxter County Jail.
Let me ask you about that, and I will. You're on the record talking about, quote, non-human life forms that could be interdimensional beings who are visiting us Can you just explain more to people at home what that might mean?
Yeah, so that's definitely a mouthful, but that is directly based on information that we've received from witnesses, also information that we have obtained and witnessed via our investigations. There's some stuff that I can't disclose of what I have immediately seen in some of these skiffs, but what I will tell you is this is not just some crazy conspiracy theory. Obviously, there's been massive reporting, not just in the United States, but around the world. And this is something that I think everyone kind of, has always had some curiosity about. We're just simply asking the questions now publicly.
And it feels like we're building towards some sort of disclosure. I know many people are hoping that Donald Trump is president and that he's ultimately the person that allows that to happen. We just had the acting NASA administrator and transportation secretary, Sean Duffy, on this show moments ago. And I asked him about this, what they're calling a comet, 3I Atlas. Take a listen to his response.
The experts at NASA have said this is a comet. It walks like a comet, talks like a comet, struts like a comet. It's a comet. I know some people have said, listen, there's alien life on here, or that at one point they said it was going to hit the Earth. Not true. But it is a fascinating comet.
There's no conspiracy.
You mentioned Kim Kardashian, so I wanted to clarify that. No, there's no conspiracy theory.
You did. All right. So, Congresswoman, NASA has yet to release the photos. They're releasing other photos every day. They blame the shutdown. They've yet to release the photos. Do you buy that from Sean Duffy?
Yeah, I actually had a conversation with NASA because I was helping Avi Loeb, who's actually a Harvard astrophysicist who's been looking into this for some time.
Right.
And remember, this is going to be one of many objects that we're going to be getting through that are interstellar because of the technology that we have now. So there is some anomalies about the comet, like, for example, it lost its tail, which is pretty much one of the first that we've ever seen. But I do believe that it's a passing through comet. And so I don't think that we are going to have any contact with any non-human intelligence yet. But the ruling's still out there on what this is, yeah.
Okay. In the event of a global catastrophe, there would be an extraterrestrial intervention. That would be ET. Or if, and this is what we're afraid of, if we continue to develop these technologies where we are a threat to other planets or a serious threat to ET assets, at some point, out of self-defense, they will have to shut those operations down. The ETs will. And I know a man who spent quite a bit of time in S4, the very sensitive area underground at Nellis Air Force Base, Area 51, where they track communications, that this was a huge problem, that the ETs were less than amused that we had taken their technologies and flipped it on them and were using them in weapon systems against them. And so that largesse and patience probably has a limit. And I'm not trying to scare people, but I think that any organization, and this is a interplanetary organization out there dealing with this, it's not just cowboys and Indians out in space. And there's a leash. We can only go down, pull that leash too far, and it's going to snap back. So I warned about that last summer, because we've gotten increasing intelligence that we humans are going too far with the exploitation of these technologies and weaponizing them and turning them against the ETs. So this is something that neither the president nor the Congress has any control over. And that is dangerous. That is the greatest existential threat, more than China, more than Iran, more than Russia, more than Hamas, more than any of them. And people are not aware of it, and they need to be made aware of it. Now, back to what you mentioned, I know from witnesses and that we had, someone passed away, by the way. There is a 1997 gathering we did for Congress, 27 years ago. One of the men who was going to testify in this off-site meeting for members of Congress in Washington was taken from the hotel where we were staying by his colleagues, begging him not to tell the public what I'm about to tell you. And he had been on an interagency committee back in the early 70s. And they had in place all the mechanisms to hit a button and the skies would be filled with these man-made UFOs made to look like an alien invasion. And he said those systems had been in place well before he was there, indicating at least in the 60s, 1960s. So I would say for the better part of 60 years, there have been operational systems where they could stage such an attack. And I believe there have been limited staged events like that already. For example, you hear about these, an event where there were some villagers and people killed in South America by a UFO, where they targeted it and it blew up the whole village. Same thing in Africa. Those were us doing that for its psychological warfare value. Now, you have to understand when you're dealing with sociopaths and psychopaths, I mean, think of, Hitler's crazy scientists on steroids having technologies thousands of years more advanced. And then you begin to realize how dangerous this organization is, because having trillions of dollars and some of the brightest minds I've ever met and the actual materiel, retrieved extraterrestrial vehicles, you're going to have some amazing breakthroughs. I would say the breakthroughs like what Raytheon has, that our witness Stephen Digna, and you'll see his testimony in there, saw out at a military base in California. Those are so advanced, Brian, that they're virtually indistinguishable from an actual ET craft.
Massive protests breaking out in Mexico City. More than 100 police officers were injured in these violent clashes outside of the National Palace. The unrest follows the assassination of a mayor who had criticized Sheinbaum's approach to fighting drug cartels. Demonstrators, many of them Gen Z, accused the president of ignoring cartel violence and rejecting U.S. help to combat it. Leonardo Falcon and Ignacio Gonzalez are here. They have a podcast called the Leo and Nacho podcast in Mexico, and we've had them on many times on Fox Noticias. I'll start with you, Leo. Why don't you just explain to the American people what is happening at this moment, because Mexico is in full revolt right now.
Yes, ma'am. First of all, good morning to the United States, and good morning to you, Rachel. And what Mexico is currently facing is a national awakening. What we're looking at, what you're probably looking at in the screens, is a protest of the Gen Z movement in Mexico, where there are no parties that they are leading this. It's the youth, it's the Mexican people. It's not about the left, it's not about the right, it's about the Mexican people wanting the best for the country. And we're all together in this protest, we're all together for a better country, and we see it. It's beautiful, it's beautiful. We saw over more than 100,000 people during the streets of Mexico, and it was pretty impressive from our part to see it for the first time, and we were actually there. So we're very happy of the people that showed up in the country and that they are pushing for a change.
Nacho, why are the Mexican people so angry at Claudia Sheinbaum, your president?
Well, in a country which you have 60 murders and 40 missing people a day, every single day, of course they are shocked. Of course they are shocked.
Yeah.
We, the youth, are really desperate because we don't see the light. The generations see the teenagers after this horrific situation. We decide to protest.
Yes.
Not with a flag of any political party, no, because they are killing us.
Yes.
That's the reality.
Okay, so what do you believe that Claudia Sheinbaum is complicit in this? We've had senators on here, Senator Lily Tejas, who bravely said Mexico is indeed a narco state, and she said that Claudia Sheinbaum and her Morena party, the political party she belongs to, is in business with the cartels. Is that true in your opinion, Leo?
Well, when we look at what Nacho just mentioned, when we look at 60 murders, 40 missing people every single day, the narco state of Mexico makes it pretty obvious that there's some things going on behind the curtains in the Mexican government.
Prosecutors charge a Milwaukee landlord accused of killing 2 people that are living above him.
Investigators say the murders stem from an argument in the upper unit at 12th and Capitol.
Investigative reporter James Stratton is live at the jail. James, family of one of the victims says he was killed over complaints that he made about his apartment.
And Rhea and Blake, family telling us that he had been without water, the victim in this case, for up to 2 months, and that he took those complaints to the city. Records show that he did as well. But it was an argument, prosecutors say, between the tenant and the landlord that reached a boiling point and led to 2 murders.
A single flower and a bottle of liquor perched on the porch of the home of Kevin Griffin, the memorial for Griffin's tenant, Terrence Wilder, and Anaya Raymond, who prosecutors say Griffin killed. Behind the now boarded up door, records show police found the body of Terrence Wilder with 1 gunshot lying in his bed in the upstairs unit.
This has been my nightmare, my hell.
His family shocked Monday.
You stole something that wasn't yours to steal. Yeah, you didn't deserve that.
Prosecutors say Wilder and Griffin were arguing about leaving the back door open when Griffin says he shot him because he, quote, just lost it. Prosecutors say Anaya Raymond, who also lived there, witnessed the murder. They say he put her and her nonverbal son in his Mercedes and drove them around. Eventually, he told prosecutors she pulled a knife and mace, and he shot her in front of her son. They say he dumped her body in this alley near 41st and Hampton, and prosecutors say he told them she, quote, was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I won't be able to see my daughter grow old. I wasn't supposed to bury her. She was supposed to bury me.
Prosecutors say he then took Raymond's son back to his house, put him in her car, drove him to another location, and, quote, told the child to wait there for his mother to come get him. Police found the boy hours later. Records show Griffin was in the process of evicting Wilder, alleging he moved others in not on the lease or paying rent. Wilder complained to the city, saying he didn't have hot water for 2 months.
He was upset because Terrence called the city on him.
Do you think this was retaliation for that?
Yes, I do.
City records show inspectors ordered Griffin to fix leaking faucets, fix a drain, and a porch door, which none appear to have been fixed at the time the landlord is charged with taking the lives of 2 people living above him.
James Griffin is being held on a $500,000 bond.
Going through intake court yesterday, Rhea, prosecutors say that they charged him previously with 14 different felonies over the years. In this case specifically, on top of the homicides, he's also charged with being a felon in possession of a firearm.
We want you to hear the explosions people in Webster are hearing and recording on their security cameras. Take a listen. Whoa. Chief Investigative Reporter Berkeley Breen is live in Webster. Now, Burke, does anyone know what that is?
Well, the short answer there, Nikki, is no, and I think that's one of the reasons why one of the homeowners decided to contact me. She's been recording these explosion sounds since September.
It's just before 5 p.m. on November 7th. That was the voice of Joelle Calcagno after the latest explosion that rattled her home.
How is this affecting you?
Well, it wakes me up when I'm sleeping, and I have puppies. It wakes the puppies up.
That's because most of the time they happen in the middle of the night.
Okay, this is October 15th.
Just after midnight.
Friday, October 3rd.
At 2 a.m.
Oh, geez, that was 2.
Yeah.
What do you think that is?
It sounds like something exploding to me.
Joelle lives on what is normally a quiet neighborhood in the middle of town. It is miles from the nearest shooting range, the one she belongs to.
There was an explosion.
We both contacted the town of Webster. The town says it investigated after the explosion sounds in October. Supervisor Tom Flaherty told me it found no activity in the area that would explain the alleged booms or explosions.
It makes me nervous. I'm concerned, like what's causing it? And nobody knows. And I'll turn my my police scanner on, there's nothing.
Well, this is a mystery.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think it sounds like?
It sounds like an explosion.
Yeah. That's my thoughts exactly, so.
Joelle shared a video with me that where you can hear what hears like gunshots as well, too, by the way. The town told me, as far as they know, she's the only one who contacted them about these explosions, although she says she's talked to her neighbors and they hear it too. Nikki?
And Burke, there's no explanation for the explosion sounds?
Not really. Well, at least not yet. She lives about 2 miles from Ronnequoit Bay, 4 miles from Lake Ontario. So we wondered if it's connected to this phenomenon they have in Seneca Lake called Seneca drums, where the DEC has determined that these sort of gas bubbles come up in the lake, and when they hit the surface, they explode, and it sounds like explosions. So we contacted the DEC today, and they told us they don't have any reports of sounds like that from the bay and the lake. So it's probably something else.
This is so weird.
Do you think that that means that there's alien life in the water, or is this simply like, when people fly drones over a body of water and the drone goes down? Is it that simple, or does it mean that there's potentially alien life underwater somewhere?
The video that we were just looking at, my first thought was, that's got to be divers, right? It's got to be divers with those neon lights. And then I thought, no, not at night without a dive boat. That's really dangerous. What did you make of it when you saw this?
Exactly that. I mean, I'm a master diver. There's nobody around there with a dive boat, with a dive flag.
Well, the more logical explanation, and something that's gaining more and more traction, is that there could be an entire advanced civilization coexisting with us here on planet Earth. They could be inside the Earth, they could be under the water in bases, and some of these stories that we're getting about encountering these craft, which has apparently been going on for a long time with the US Navy, are starting to make sense. So it could be a combination of extraterrestrials that have bases here that are concealed, or there's the very real possibility that we're dealing with an actual additional sentient race here on planet Earth.
Can you talk about some of the stories? You mentioned that you're hearing more stories out there of these USOs. What kind of stories are you hearing?
Well, the people are coming forth from the Navy, and they're talking about things where submarines have encountered craft the size of football fields that are moving at impossible speeds underwater. There's videos that exist of these things going from space to air to in the water without really seeming to change based on what's around them. So in other words, they're able to traverse without the restrictions that you would expect to find when you're going through water.
Wow. What are we looking at right now with this video?
There's a lot of these stories coming up, and some of them are coming from reliable people. And you guys are looking at this video. This is a MUFON case that was sent to us, and that's undetermined. That could be anything. It could be some scuba divers. We can't figure out what it is, but we're not sure if it's, some kind of alien craft under the water.
The number of sightings that people are having in these locations and, putting it all together, it just doesn't make sense that so many people, are unable to, I don't know. The UFO thing has been, always people focusing in the sky, right? And so it's kind of like now that we're shifting to USOs, a lot of people are wondering if this is a new phenomenon or not, and it really is not.
Those are so advanced, Brian, that they're virtually indistinguishable from an actual ET craft, up to and including AI, living bio nanotechnology, really advanced stuff. So we go from a clunky ARV from the late 50s, 1960s that's in the archive to the testimony in 2000 by Stephen Digna, where this craft is almost like a bio nanotechnology. But it was Raytheon. It was Raytheon's ship. If you over 80 years and countless trillions of dollars, literally, and the most brilliant scientific minds you will ever meet, which by the way are not at Harvard, MIT, and Caltech, they're in a skiff. And they were plucked out of high school and undergrad. The guys I know with IQs, I'm sure north of 200, as high as the scale goes. And when I meet with these men who are these scientists, my God, the technologies they work on. Let me give you a hint. When Ben Rich was dying, he was the head of the Lockheed Skunk Works, the premier secret aerospace engineering outfit. And Jim Goodall, who's on our team, and you'll see him make this statement at our conference before our National Press Club event in June. It's up there for people to see if you want to. And he said he spoke to Mr. Rich about a week before he died, or the week that he passed. And he asked him about this. He said, Jim, out in the desert, you're not talking about Area 51. He specifically said, out in the desert, the Lockheed Skunk Works, anything you can imagine and anything you've seen on Star Trek we've done. Now, what is he talking about? Well, he's talking about man-made craft that move very much in a way that people would think was an extraterrestrial vehicle or an ETV. Technologies that can basically violate space-time by bending it. So it's sort of like on a piece of paper where you have an object here and an object here, or a point of space here and here, and you want to go from one point to another. Instead of going in a straight line, you're bending space-time like a piece of paper, so you're here. So it's the ultimate quantum entanglement level of technology. But these began to be studied in very, very well-funded programs in the 40s and 50s. And so they have those sort of technologies. And one of the shocking things, I think, for most of the people in Congress, when I meet with them, I'll throw the footage up you're referring to of, David Fravor chasing this object off the coast of California. I'll say that object, I can prove, is from the Lockheed Skunk Works. It is not of alien origin. And of course, they're all assuming it's from China or another country. I said, no, it's in your backyard. And I've talked to members of Congress. I said, it's in your jurisdiction. It's in your congressional district. But
how can you prove that?
I can prove it by the people who've handled them. I can show them where the entrance to the underground base is. I have a photo of it. We have all of this, and I'm turning all of it over. I mean, I have no use for it. I'm a private citizen who's just researching.
In our countries, no one can walk the streets with a mask on their face or drive a car without a license plate. No one can send packages without showing an ID or buy a hunting weapon without giving their name. And yet, we are allowing people to roam freely on social networks without linking their profiles to a real identity. This paving the way for misinformation, hate speech, and cyber harassment, because it is facilitating the use of bots, and it is allowing people to act without being held accountable for their actions. Such an anomaly cannot continue. In a democracy, citizens have the right to privacy, not to anonymity or impunity, because with those two, social coexistence would be impossible. That is why I believe we must push forward the principle of pseudonymity as the functioning element of social media, and force all these platforms to link every user account to an European digital identity wallet. This way, citizens could use nicknames if they want, but in the case of a crime, public authorities would be able to connect those nicknames to real people and hold them responsible. Because accountability is not an obstacle to freedom of speech. It is an essential complement to it.
Well, many have started paying for things with our phones, even watches.
One company, though, wants to take that technology to another level by implanting a chip in your hand. So, the overseas company Walletmore is selling the microchip in parts of Europe. It's about the size of a grain of rice, goes under the skin. It's then activated using a digital wallet app. The chip is going for about $300, and the company says at least 200 people have gotten them implanted already. I would have many questions for a doctor about that.
Yeah.
The more you work, the less you have. I ain't got nothing. You don't know nothing about working, do you?
You have a great deal of respect for work.
That's the only way you can get anything is work. Ain't it? I done worked and got 55 years old and ain't got nothing, ain't it? That look like it's a fool. Look like it's a fool in working, don't it? I've been working, done got 55 years old and ain't got a thing.
The biggest scam on planet Earth is a job. Because think about it, you work for 40 years, 8 hours a day, and after 40 years, you are still broke. How is that not a scam?
After 40 years, you are still broke. How is that not a scam?